Welcome back to the channel for episode, I think it's 82 of the Download Illuvium news. Today we have got leak after leak, and honestly there isn't as much as last week, but we do have a really big leak from Kieran as he talks about what he wants to do regarding the unified fuel proposal and the conversion rate for it. There has been so much discussion regarding this. The council team, everyone is on the case. It's just taking us a little while to get around to properly discussing it so we can do it properly. So everyone's going to give us a little bit more patience. But at the same time, we are going to talk about it today, and we're going to give you the best information and news right up front. How's it going today, man?
Fantastic. Very excited for today's episode. I don't know what you've got lined up, but very excited.
All right, this is going to be a relatively quick episode today, so let us jump into it. First up, we've got some of the new leaks. They're actually looking really, really cool. Some of the drone VFX, where when your drone loses, they're going to take some damage and then get knocked to the ground, depending on how much.
Do you know when the testnet version is going to go to live or pub?
Internally, the discussion was always like end of March kind of vibe. But okay. I have no idea. Cool. Like, I'm hoping end of March, and some of the other leaks we'll talk about today kind of indicate that sort of ballpark as well. But I obviously can't promise that. I think at worst case scenario, I would say mid-April. But I think it'll be end of March.
Yo, I love this change of dynamic because now I'm asking you, as someone on the council, does it make sense now that? Because I think the biggest thing with rewards was the clunkiness, the desyncs, the crashes. Now that Testnet is utilizing multiplayer servers, does that mean that the next update, when it goes prod, we could technically start introducing leaderboard rewards and such? I feel like that could be. Is that something that you're aware of? I don't know. What are you thinking of? What are you thinking about that?
This is a funny dynamic.
I love this dynamic, actually.
I don't know what I'm allowed to say, but I might not be allowed to say this, but I'm going to say it anyways, because I think Kieran's been kind of hinting at this himself, basically, right? But the plan for the past month or two, Kieran has been discussing with the council, is basically that he wants rewards to kick in with this next big update. Basically, when this testnet goes to mainnet, he wants rewards to kick in. He didn't have like a fully concrete plan. I don't know what their current situation is with leaderboard rewards specifically, but he wanted to have Leviathan tournaments at the very least. That's a big thing he wanted to kick off with, because that would be a big marketing event surrounding the launch of ADR, unified fuel systems and things like that. That all goes into Leviathan. There's no point of having unified fuel and that monetization strategy without Leviathan leveraging the alluvials on the other end. So he wanted both of them to essentially come together at the one time. And at the moment, the ability to host those Leviathan tournaments and have that run smoothly will be the thing that it holds back ADR and everything going to prod. I think it's a simple idea.
Can I ask, what do you think? Do you think that if it was you, let's say you were CEO, Magic One, would you want to be incentivizing Leviathan in the next update, or what do you think?
I think it's the right call, because you definitely need to give utility to alluvials. It's been fucking long enough. But when I say Leviathan's going to be incentivized, I'm not saying $100,000, right? Like, it's definitely going to start off slow and then ramp up over time into whatever fashion.
Let me cut you off. So would you say that the majority? Oh, look at that, Mr. Sam Withers. So would you say that the majority of incentives should, with this next update, what would the ratio be? What would the split be between ranked and Leviathan? What would you put it as?
Just do all Leviathan for now, because we're not marketing to Web 2 yet.
Interesting. That's very interesting, because I would have said the opposite.
No.
I would have said the majority should be on
I want the majority to go to ranked when the game is ready and we're going fully out and stuff like that. This Leviathan thing is more like a temporary thing while we're testing out the systems, because we can't test Leviathan without incentives, because no one's going to fucking play it. Everyone's just going to play ranked gauntlet. It's easier to get into, easier to find a match. Until you actually stimulate the the matchmaking. No one's going to play it, and they need to test the balance. They need to test how the alluvials integrate and everything, and they can't test it without putting incentives into it. So really, it's still another testing phase, even though there will be some rewards involved. But then after that, when we market it to TFT players and all the rest of it, that is when I definitely want to go 80% to ranked mode temporarily until we start getting players in and start fostering the economy and things like that. And then eventually go to kind of like a 50-50 split. Or if Leviathan turns out to be really popular, maybe we incentivize that more or something like that. I don't know what would happen in the end. But really, to me, it's one step at a time. There's no... Whatever we do this month could be completely different from the month after. You know, I'm not like planning out 12 months ahead. You know what I mean?
Fair play.
Does that make sense? Yep.
Yeah. I disagree somewhat, but completely fine.
Well, I definitely want them to incentivize both, but I don't think that's their current plan. All right. So got some more leaks here. We have this 3D print of a battle board and some alluvials. He claims he's trying to use this to test strategy. I have no idea how this is better for testing strategy than using casual mode of the game. But whatever works for whatever people. I think he just wanted to show off the 3D printer and the 3D prints. I think it looks pretty cool. I really like it. So people floated the idea of an Illuvium chessboard, which I think would be sick. So new leaks from the different creatures and a new drone. We're getting 2 new drones in these leaks, 3 new drones, but that might not be one of the drones that follows you with you. But we have this drone here with the little antennae, which is pretty cute. We have this drone, which is much more blocky, more like a bulwark or a stalwart. Then we have this drone with the full shields. Very, very cool. This is one's my new favorite, I think. I love the one eye type stuff too. And then we have this new animation with showing up the combat thing. Very nice for the polish. I just want them to implement the features. Personally, I'm kind of getting annoyed about seeing some of this stuff sometimes. But I get it. It's fine. And then we have this like... Fuck, sorry. We have this... this suit. Why is that funny? All right. You can see
you suffer. Seeing you suffer is always entertaining.
Seeing your ranger gear up for battle, and we could see all the other rangers joining you. And so people pointed out something very funny. Did you notice something in this pic?
No.
Really look at it.
No.
There's 7 fucking hexes.
Right.
And there's 8 players in a gauntlet match.
I'm sure they're going to sort that out. I'm not even worried about that. That's so fucking...
It's so silly.
Yeah, I'm not even worried about that.
Yeah, Crypto Quick Chat is not even wrong. He's asking... Sam asked what the new drones are for, and Quick Chat said it's to give the art department something to do. Which is... That's going to be 90% right, honestly.
But
I reckon it is a component of the new MMO light plans and things like that. But it's interesting because I think the drone helps you really personalize yourself, and maybe the drones will factor in, like maybe they'll look different if you give them different drone augments. That'd be pretty cool. I think it's overkill, but it'd be pretty cool.
Regarding what's planned for one league for everybody, yes, I don't think that we should split leagues and shit like that. Yo, I love that I can just be cussing. No, not crazy, but I'm a little bit more free flowing with my cussing right now. Yeah, I mean, if someone spends 10,000, they should be at the top of that league. That's what Leviathan is. It's pay to win. Obviously, there's skill involved, but yo, we're not here to make everyone happy and say, "Oh yeah, cool. I am playing for free," or I paid $5 for my team. I should win the 10,000. Unlikely. Maybe you get to top 10, maybe. But for you to win, unlikely. So,
well,
yeah, to try to make everyone happy, just not.
It is a standard ranked leaderboard. So if your team's really shit, you might be placed in silver, and you're gonna have a lot of trouble getting to gold with a really shit team, right? And then you'll progress up through the ranks, like with any other ranked leaderboard. But how big your wallet is will help influence it up until you get into the higher echelons, and then it's much more about skill. If you both have like really strong teams and things like that. What's that face?
No, I was gonna make a joke, but I'm not going to.
Just do it.
No, absolutely. What's the next topic?
Whatever, you're killing me, man. All right.
It's not about you.
We got another leak from Roger. where we can see a hole in the breach. Looks pretty cool. A door is on the other side for whatever reason, but I quite like that image. So, yep, just wanted to show that one off.
You're not showing anything, by the way.
There we go. Hole in the breach. We love to see it. Great. Whatever. Let's move on. The next one we've got here is a new drone animation or drone blast. I don't know which one that is. Looks like water was coming out at the end there, so it's some sort of water Illuvium collection probably.
Play it again.
Oh my god.
Play it again. Play it again. I wasn't watching.
You weren't watching?
No. I didn't even see it. Yeah, no clue. I can't help you.
Okay, so the next one is, this is really interesting. So there was a lot of discussion this week about the trait purity indicator and how it's going to work with different alluvials across different games and things like that. And Aaron says here that each game will actually have its own tab per alluvial in the Alluvidex. By default, we will show it MMO because that's sort of the central game. The others will be a toggle, as you say. So the point he's making here, I don't have all the screenshots of what he said here, but the main point he said here is that like the MMO might have the 6 stats for the hex, but a kart racer might have like speed, acceleration.
So
like
I'll break this down very quickly. Someone might perceive movement speed as not so important in the MMO, so it's not going to be a priority. In the kart racer, movement speed might be the most valued trait, so it's going to be valued in that way. Essentially, that's what it is. Think about that in a larger scale and in different scales. But that's pretty much, I'm pretty sure, what he's referring to. And now Scoriox is typing.
Yeah,
I'm just killing the dead air. I don't know what's happening.
Okay, let's go to the next one. So here is the big thing Kieran said in the public channels this week. Okay, so basically there is currently a problem where the fuel conversion as per EP, whatever it is, EP2, I think, would be actually an 89-to-1 conversion. This was never the intent of the council because when we signed off on this fuel proposal and everything like that, the ratio was way different. It was closer to, I think it was close to like 40, but we actually wanted to be better than that. Anyways, Kieran said this. He wanted to give some context and numbers first, where he said 40% of the fuel is currently held by 10 people, which is actually insane. When you think about it, 40% is held by 10 people, 70% is held by 250 people. So although this affects maybe a lot of money in a certain sense, it really doesn't affect that many people in the large scale of things. But really, that's not that important. It's just important context. So the intention was to implement the fuel merge much earlier, but the team changes in other products made significantly longer tasks than expected. They should have shut off fuel sales earlier. That all happened. So the goal has never been to rug anyone or screw over the community. So what he's saying here is the most rational and fair solution is to refund all fuel purchases that were below 0.25 of the max rail, which is the target the new fuel price is balanced around. Players who generally wanted to play still got value, and players who are arbing the system don't get their purchasing power advantage. The economy doesn't take an unnecessary hit. The DAO loses some revenue. When he says some, he means a lot of revenue. But that's the money that arguably shouldn't have been taken below a certain price point if we had a minimum rail in place. Really, it was a broken system. People took advantage of that system, which is perfectly fine. There was no rule against doing so. But we need to fix the system, and trying to make everything right is still really important. So that's what Kieran is saying here.
Look, one of the things that I've said, I think I've said this on like in these shows. And by the way, thank you for inviting me on consistently for these things. But I think one of the things that I've said consistently, and I will continue to say consistently, and it sucks for some people, the pain of a few for the benefit of the majority is something that we have to do. It just is. Like the idea that we should protect everyone and try to look out for everyone, idealistically, that is perfect. Realistically, it's impossible. So, like what Kieran is saying here, where 10 people own 40% of the fuel. Look, I understand that it's shit, or it's not ideal. If I'm trying to word this a bit more professionally, but they don't need to get sacrificed, but sacrifices need to be made for the benefit of the long-term objective. And sometimes that means tough decisions have to be made. And I see this with zero players. I see this with the fuel holders. I see this with alluvial holders. Everyone feels like they should be the ones that are prioritized the most. And I think this is an experiment that decisions need to be made to fine tune things. And sometimes it's not going to be the ideal situation. But if you genuinely are backing this for the long term, you're going to have to bite the bullet and understand that and look at the bigger picture, not just the puzzle piece that you're looking at. So yeah, no, and I think what Kieran has proposed makes a lot of sense and is relatively fair. But yeah, for the guys at the top, I can understand why they would be a little bit peeved, I guess, is probably the best way
Yeah,
to
and I
put it.
think Illuvium Live also brings up that landowners who bought the land to use the fuel for themselves are taking a bit of a hit here because they cannot no longer transfer fuel to themselves. However, the promise was always that the transferring fuel to yourself shouldn't circumvent the DAO. When that was added, I was vehemently against it. I thought it was the stupidest thing that the DAO has ever done. I think it's nice for landowners to kind of give back to them, but in the end, it just kind of breaks the economy a little bit further on a mathematical scale. I still think we should be doing something for landholders, but it's a little bit broken, and you will still be able to use your fuel to send to yourself in the overworld, except this time it'll go through the proper system. It'll be slower and kind of painful, which sucks, but at the same time, it will go through the proper system where you sell fuel, get the ETH back, and it rebuys the fuel back, which was always the original plan that the team had always said was the strategy to do it. And they abandoned that at some point for some reason, but it's going to come back in that form.
And I think people need to understand as well, like Kieran is probably one of the largest landholders. I am also a landholder with more than one plot of land, more than 2 plots of land. We just have to bite the bullet. Like it just sucks, but it is what it is. We're not saying you guys deal with the consequence and we escape it. A lot of us are dealing with it the same way. We're just looking at it as like, yeah, cool. For the benefit of the long-term vision, this is something that we have to...
Yeah, I mean, in the end, it's if you have to decide between one or the other, it's deciding between Illuvium going to zero or Illuvium trying to be successful with some short-term pain. That's just all it is. And obviously, the choice is obvious always. And I mean, so if you don't believe in Illuvium or you don't believe in your Illuvium land anymore, then you should sell it and you should go somewhere else. Because if you don't, then you don't. That's fine. Like, if they've broken your trust, then they've broken your trust. I can't change that. I'm just saying that, like, this is just a part of how this entire thing works. And it's just one of those things, I guess. All right. The next one here is we've got this leak from Roger, which looks really cool. I think this is... We've already had Flare and Singe, haven't we? We haven't had Seer. So this has got to be Seer, right?
It's a Cookarath. Rob, it's a Cookarath. What the fuck are you guys
There's no way it's Cookarath.
It's got a beak. It's very clearly a Cookarath. It's one of the dodos. Are you guys fucking with me? There's no fucking way.
No, it's Seer. It's got to be Seer.
It's very clearly
it's got the little confused eyes. No, you're messing with me. It's red, dude.
Bro, look at the beak. Are you insane?
Nah, it's bullshit.
You guys are idiots. Honestly, you guys are idiots.
Crypto Quick Chat says Chukundi.
It's definitely not a Chukundi. Well, that's definitely
it's got to be Seer.
Bro, look at the smile on its... Whatever.
That's not a smile.
Whatever. Clip this shit. Okay, whatever. Clip this shit.
Look, these fans on the right, they're from Seer.
Okay, cool. I'm going to speak to you the way I speak to my wife. Cool. Yep, you're right. Let's see in a couple months' time.
Nah, we're going to settle this shit.
You can message Roger right now?
I tagged him. Shady thinks it's Seer too. All right, we'll go on to the next one.
Well, you guys are
I forgot with that bit. There was actually the information that was important. So, Roger said he's going to try and get a lockdown from marketing councils and then post an update with some info about the changes they're planning for Illuvium Beyond Wave 4. Okay, cool. We got some more loot leaks. What is this? Is this an atlas? I bet you think it's an atlas, TSG.
Yeah, I'm not even going to.
Okay, whatever. These look pretty cool. I really like that gorilla. Or is that an apon? Is that?
Bruv, I'm not even going to entertain your stupidity.
That's a neat Terra leak. I love it. All right, let's move on. So as for the NFT ownership copyrights and things like that, Roger says that they are your NFTs, but the actual copyrights of the characters and depictions of them are not. So making money with it would be a contested point. However, he says that licensing agreements come around the corner. That'd be really cool if there's like a global licensing agreement thing that just kind of like hits the floor. That'd be really interesting. I'd love to leverage that sort of stuff. Okay, the other one is from Eddie, where he says something big is coming to the Illuvium Arena. They're working on a massive set of changes, including synergies, augments, legendary augments, and alluvial adjustments. I'm looking forward to that. I think I don't really play the game that much while it's on testnet. I just kind of want it to be on mainnet, but that's just me. The other thing is they're thinking of reworking stats a little bit for the Illuvium Arena, which I think is really cool. So first, Neil says that move speed will keep being the least effective trait of all of them in Arena, but they'll add a slight touch to bring some utility to it, which is really intriguing. So I have no idea what they're going to do to add utility to movement speed. Maybe it'll change the rate you get hyper. That'd be my guess. But what do you think it could be?
Yeah, I'm not a game developer.
All right, the other one is Neil says that they are redesigning some effects so that all units benefit from all traits in some way, shape, or form. The most notable alluvial that doesn't is Geyser, where he doesn't use attack, damage, attack speed, or movement speed. So he's a 3-trait alluvial, which is quite funny. I think that's good. I like his uniqueness. But yeah, Neil also says official alluvium tournament requirements are yet to be defined, but they aim to make it accessible to as many players as possible. After that, Neil says the current plan laid out for the Illuvium Arena. First, we will fully polish Gauntlet. Then we will be able to tackle Ascendant. They want to make Leviathan playable and competitive as soon as possible, especially as Reward's competitive landscape is around the corner. It's getting close, but he can't give any dates. Well, too bad I did. I have no idea what I pulled up this page for. Okay. The other thing is Trevor has finally jumped into the chat. This is one of the Overworld game directors that just came on board with Illuvium. And he said that... Where is it? It's up here. Let's go a bit...
When are we going to bring him on the download?
If you want.
I would love to, actually. I'll be completely honest.
He says here that he could say that what we've seen so far regarding the art already developed in the game is very promising. Art is definitely one of the limiting factors that causes projects like this to take so much time to build. Don't forget, this guy has worked on Blizzard and several of the World of Warcraft expansions. But there are also always tech considerations. The tech as it stands looks solid, but in his experience, we'll only know how we'll stand it up to different types of gameplay when they begin testing. I was trying to ask him if the game could get developed really fast because the art is a lot of the art is done like that, and he's giving a good little synopsis here on what we can expect moving forward. So that's really exciting there. I've got so many of the same thing. All right, the other one here is regarding the interoperability between the different Illuvium games. He says he's a huge fan of elements of progression being shared across different titles in the ecosystem. He actually built a similar system for a project he's worked on in the past. The main complication is that you can't build it in such a way that folks feel obligated to play your other titles in order to enjoy the game they want to play. I think that's a really important distinction to make, and it's great that we have these new veterans on the team to really steer the game direction of maybe all 3 games in a certain sense, but with a focus on the MMO Lite. And I'm really looking forward to it, and I just really hope people don't need to play Arena to get the full experience. And it sounds like they're definitely not going to have to, so that's really, really cool.
No, that's a great answer.
Yeah, he knows his shit.
I genuinely, I've been taking the piss a little bit throughout this episode, but I would love for him to come on the podcast and the podcast.
I talked with the other game director a little bit in DMs as well. So they're very friendly, very open to chat, jumping in the Discord, and they're used to this sort of stuff too. When it comes to Web 2 gaming, community-driven, community-focused stuff isn't really big in most games, but when it comes to MMOs, they tend to be a pretty big component. So both of these are used to this sort of setup, and they're definitely keen to have a chat with everyone, especially if you have feedback for them in the game. They're really looking forward to it, which is which is really, really great to see. Fight for ETH wanted to set up a feedback forum for drone runs. So if you have any feedback on it, go check it out. I think Follow had some really good points here where there is too much shininess for no apparent reason. You don't know if something's going to be a holo before flipping it. That could be really exciting. But right now, everything's shiny based on the TPI rather than shiny based on the rarity of the alluvial. And it's getting really muddy. I did a bunch of drone runs today, and basically, like, if it's got like a 90 TPI, but it's a tier 1, it'll show up as your most rare thing. It just feels kind of out of place, if that makes sense. Like, you want your Ramfire to be the giant, rare, shiny thing that really blows you away and you open up, even if the Ramfire has kind of met stats. But I don't know. I think there needs to be a mix of the two. It's really tricky. But yeah, so if you have some feedback, go chuck it in there. Just two more things. The 3D printed board. I forgot that I had that earlier. And the other thing is I made a poll recently that got 1,600 votes asking where Illuvium should migrate to when it comes to a blockchain, because I think IMX Legacy is now officially dead. It was always kind of dead, but Gods Unchained just left and went to ZK EVM. And so Illuvium is officially the final built project that exists on the IMX Legacy chain, and it needs to migrate ASAP, in my personal opinion. I don't know if you agree with me here. Anyways, the Ronin crew really showed up, and so many of them are actually saying that they really want to play like a TFT game on the Ronin blockchain, which is not a surprise because Ronin, in a sense, is very popular in Asian countries. It was popularized by the Philippines and Brazil and things like that. And those countries are really big fans of auto battlers in general, but TFT, they're a really big part of... You did way more research into the TFT audiences and stuff than I did. But I would be right in saying that it's really big in the Asian cultures and Asian countries, right?
China, Japan, and Korea.
And those three, I reckon a lot of the Asian countries are really big with the Ronin network in general, and they fell in love with Axie Infinity and many of the other games there. I don't know if you'd agree with that.
No.
Yeah,
100%.
so I think that match, it's kind of funny because the MMO Lite probably would benefit more from ZK EVM or AVAX, but I think the Arena would benefit more from Ronin.
Let me cut you off real quick. It's not just the genre, though. It's accessibility. And in those countries of China, Korea, Japan, Indonesia, Philippines, there's not really that crazy hype for auto battles in Philippines. But regardless, in that region, accessibility is a thing, and mobile gaming is a thing. So yes, we could hit the genre that they like, but if it's not accessible to them on mobile, irrelevant. So I think it's a two-pronged attack two-pronged strategy. I would say attack. Two-pronged strategy of, okay, the genre that fits well and accessibility. If we're coming up with a genre that they love but they can't play it, what's the purpose? So yes, it would make sense for those reasons, but it would need to be accessible.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm looking forward to when Arena comes to mobile. I think it'll be a really big deal. I think Arena needs to speed up a little bit. I don't want to see a 40-minute match time come to mobile. I think it needs to be 2025, if you ask me. But obviously, if you make it too fast, you kind of lose some of the gameplay there. So the balance is going to be really difficult to obtain. But yeah, that's really all I had for today's episode. Is there anything else you want to touch on before we wrap this one up?
No. This great episode. Is there anything that you wanted to touch on regarding your tweet about people wanting to kill you or something like that? I saw those pretty.
I didn't say kill.
No. Okay. Cool. Oh, I don't know. I fucking know. It's just.
All right. Have a good one, guys. And with that, the download is complete.